Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz, chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello, welcome to Counterpoint from the BBC's hallowed Maida Vale studios, where it's easier to name the artists who haven't performed here than list those who have. Into this historic studio today step three music enthusiasts who are hoping the breadth of their musical knowledge could take them all the way to our proms final at the end of the series. Let's meet them.
Hello, I'm Liz ASHLING from Amersham in Buckinghamshire, and I'm a nurse and midwife.
Hello, my name's Steve Brown. I'm a software developer and I live in Llanddeusant in Wales.
Hello, my name's Brian Thorne. I'm a plasterer from Shillingstone in Dorset.
A warm welcome to all three of you. In the opening round, I'll be asking you questions in rotation worth 2 points each. If you get it wrong or you can't answer correctly, the others can buzz in for 1 bonus point. Would you take today's first question, please? Liz ASHLING. Which composition, first performed complete in public in 1920, was originally called 7 Pieces for Large Orchestra?
The Enigma Variations?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not the Enigma Variations. Can anyone else pick it up? And Brian Thorne says?
Salome.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't that. And Steve Brown guesses?
It's not 5 pieces for orchestra.
No, although I would love it if it were. It's actually The Planet Suite by Gustav Holst, the first night of the proms this year. Steve Brown, your first clip of music is Leopold Stokowski's orchestration of a piano prelude by Debussy. To which sunny and atmospheric Spanish city is this music taking us?
Is it Seville?
I'm sorry, it is not Seville. Brian Thorne says...
Cadiz.
It's not Cadiz. Well, Liz, would you like to name a Spanish city?
Granada?
Yes, for the bonus point. We heard Evening in Granada. Brian Thorne, which of J.S. Bach's compositions is sometimes known as the 48 Preludes and Fugues?
Brandenburg Concertos.
I'm sorry, that's not it. And Liz says?
The Well-Tempered Clavier?
And it's another bonus point. Liz, here's your own question. All of a sudden, there's a spate of current hit musicals set in schools. School of Rock, Heathers, and everybody's talking about Jamie come to mind. Here's a song from a musical of a slightly older vintage, also set in a high school. Your question will follow the clip. We heard John Travolta as Danny, but can you remember the name of the high school in Greece, which was inspired by the name of an American heartthrob singer of the early 1960s?
Is it Rydell High?
It was Rydell High. Bobby Rydell's 60s hits included Wild One and the Tony Hatch song Forget Him. 2 points. Steve Brown, the song we just heard is, of course, all about a car. Which hugely successful American group, who also routinely sang songs about cars in the 1960s, have this year released an album of some of their greatest hits, reworked with new orchestral backing by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
And Brian Thorne says?
The Beach Boys.
And he's right. They gave their blessing to new orchestral backings overlaid on the original recordings of such hits as Fun, Fun, Fun and California Girls. A bonus point for you. And here's your own question, Brian Thorne. Here's a piece of pop music that was used to devastating effect earlier this year in a harrowing scene from a much talked about TV drama. It accompanied images of a group of women being led off to the scaffold in the TV adaptation of Margaret Atwood's novel The Handmaid's Tale. You'll get your 2 points if you can name the singer and the song.
I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have a lot of strength left. I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have a lot of strength left. I should be crying, but I just can't let it show. I should be hoping, but I can't stop thinking. All the things I should have said that I never said. All the things we should have done that we never did. All the things I should have given that I didn't. Oh, darling, make it go. Make it go away.
It's Kate Bush and Mother.
It is Kate Bush for 1 point, but you didn't get the title right. Liz
Is
says
it Hounds of Love?
it is not Hounds of Love, I'm afraid. And Steve Brown doesn't seem like he's inclined to guess a Kate Bush title. This Woman's Work from the album The Sensual World. Liz, your turn. Among the notable musical figures we have lost in 2018 is Jose Abreu. He was the controversial founder of which musical education system which began in his native Venezuela before spreading to other countries, including Scotland? No?
Sorry, I don't know.
Anyone else? And Steve says,
Is it just called El Sistema?
that's right, and you get a bonus point. And here is your own question. Part of a famous choral piece of which George Bernard Shaw once wrote it was a solid piece of musical manufacture. You feel at once it could only have come from the establishment of a first-class undertaker. What's it called?
It's Brahms' German Requiem.
It is indeed. We heard the section known in English as All Flesh is as the Grass. Brian Thorne, we're paying tribute to Leonard Bernstein in his centenary year by featuring questions about him regularly in this series of Counterpoint. Which famous work for piano and orchestra is Bernstein describing here? It is not a real composition in the sense that whatever happens in it must seem inevitable. You can cut parts of it without affecting the whole. You can remove any of these stuck-together sections, and the piece still goes on as bravely as before. It can be a 5-minute piece or a 12-minute piece, and in fact, all these things are being done to it every day.
Chichester Palms.
No, I'm sorry, he's not talking about that. And Steve Brown says?
Is it Rhapsody in Blue?
He is talking about My Desert Island Disc, Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. You get a bonus point. Liz Ashling, here's an uplifting pop song that's 30 years old this summer. I'd like you to name the Irish band responsible for this.
Yeah, there's a smell of fresh cut grass and it's filling up my senses, and the sun is shining down on the blossoms in the avenue. There's a buzzing fly hanging around the bluebells and the daisies. There's a lot more love in you left in this heart. Don't go, don't leave it there now. While the sun smiles, stick around, laugh a while, yeah. And I'll lie warm on the soft sandy beaches, and my toes are submerged in the water, and it feels good.
Is the band The Commitment?
I'm sorry, it's not. And Brian Thorne says?
Hothouse Flowers.
That's right, the Hothouse Flowers with Don't Go. You get a bonus point. Steve Brown, the piece known as Vidor's Toccata remains one of the most popular of all organ works and is often heard at weddings. It's the final movement of which of Vidor's symphonies?
The fifth?
That's right, for 2 points. Brian Thorne, for your final extract, you're going to hear part of the recording that won BBC Music Magazine's Recording of the Year award in 2018. It's by an 89-year-old conductor who had made his professional conducting debut 64 years earlier in 1954. Can you tell me his name and the piece he's conducting?
Is it Zubin Mehta? But I don't know the piece.
I'm sorry, it's not Zubin Mehta. And Liz Ashling says?
It's Mahler 3.
Yes, that's 1 point.
And is it Bernard Haitink?
And it is indeed. You get 1 point. But let's see how that affects the end of the opening round when it does. Because in third place with 3 points is Brian Thorne. Lying second with 5 points, Liz Ashling. And in the lead with 6 points, it's Steve Brown. In round 2, our competitors are given 5 topics and have to choose one on which to answer a set of individual questions. They've had absolutely no warning of what these categories are going to be. They'll choose the topics in the order of their scores so far. Here are today's choices: Russian ballet, classical music in the Weimar Republic and the Third Reich, Romeo and Juliet, 6 weddings and a funeral, and 7 days in pop music. Steve Brown, you're in the lead at the moment. What would you like?
Russian ballet, please.
Liz Ashling, what is your choice?
Can I have 7 days in pop music, please?
You may indeed. And that leaves 3 for Brian Thorne.
6 weddings and a funeral, please.
Here come your specialist questions on 6 weddings and a funeral. And let us remember that this is an individual round and you cannot pick up bonuses on other people's questions. And so, Brian, which former punk singer's hit song about a white wedding reached the UK top 10 in 1985?
Billy Idol.
For 2 points. Wedding festivities are described in this operatic prelude. What's the opera?
Lohengrin.
That is correct, by Wagner. Which band leader had a big hit in 1949 with the Wedding Samba?
Duke Ellington.
I'm sorry, Wedding Samba was a big hit for Edmundo Ross. This weird sort of funeral march is thought to have been inspired by an artwork depicting a huntsman's funeral with the cortege consisting of various wild animals. It comes from which symphony?
Mahler's First.
That's correct. We heard part of the third movement with Leonard Bernstein conducting. The principal conductor of the London Chamber Orchestra conducted the orchestra at the royal wedding of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in 2018. Who is he?
Vernon Hanley.
I'm sorry, it was Christopher Warren Green. This wedding appears to have been a disaster. Who was the credited artist?
You tripped on Smile, your father was lauded too. What a mess.
Don't really know. I'll say Victor Borger, but
Nice guess, but it was Spike Jones and his City Slickers with the recording of I Went to Your Wedding. Your last question on 6 Weddings and a Funeral. The Wedding March by Mendelssohn comes from his incidental music written to accompany which Shakespeare play?
A Midsummer's Night's Dream.
Correct for 2 points. In that round, you scored 8 points. Added to your previous 3, you now have 11 points. Liz Ashling, you have chosen 7 days in pop music. Which Manchester band had a UK hit in 1983 with Blue Monday?
New Order.
That's right. For your music clip number 1 in this round, here is an Irish group performing a Rolling Stones song. Can you name the song and the group?
She would never say where she came from. Yesterday don't matter if it's gone. While the sun is bright, or in the darkest night, no one knows. She comes and goes.
I think the band is The Cause,
Yes?
but I don't know the song, I'm sorry.
Okay. Bearing in mind, the round is called 7 Days in Pop Music.
Oh.
And the first song was Blue Monday.
Is it not Ruby Tuesday?
Yes! I can hear the soft breathing of the girl that I love. Are lyrics from a Simon & Garfunkel song about a Wednesday morning. What time in the morning?
I think it's 3 a.m.
You're right. Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. More music. Here's James Brown singing about Monday through Thursday. Brown acquired several nicknames throughout his successful music career. After we've heard him, I'd like you to name one.
Thursday night girl was plain to see. Something walked in, it's know your love for me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You really put the hurt on me. Yes, you did, baby. One more thing I wanna say. Turn it over. Turn it over. I wanna tell you the rest of my story.
The Godfather?
Of?
So
Yes, that's right. The Godfather of Soul, or you could have said the Godfather of Funk. Then again, you could say Mr. Please, 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 Soul Brother number 1, the hardest working man in show business, Mr. Dynamite, the minister of the new heavy superfunk. But the Godfather of Soul gets you 2 points. Friday night, and the lights are low. So sing ABBA in Dancing Queen. It was the lead single from their 4th album, released in 1976. What was the title of the album?
Arrival?
Yes, for 2 points. Here's a clip of music from an all-girl group. A question will follow.
When I'm with you, baby, I go out of my head. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. All the things you do to me and everything you said. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. We slip and slide as we fall in love, and I just can't seem to get enough. Oh.
That was the Saturdays, who formed in 2007 and went on to have a string of hits, including Just Can't Get Enough, which you've just heard. For 2 points, can you tell me which British electronic band recorded the original version?
Depeche Mode.
For 2 points. And your final question in this round, what kind of Sunday were the Small Faces enjoying in 1968?
Lazy Sunday.
Lazy Sunday, you're quite right. And so, Liz Ashling, you have scored a perfect round of 14 points. 7 days in pop music was a good choice for you. 14 points added to your previous 5 gives you 19 points. Steve Brown, here are your questions on Russian ballet. Which of Tchaikovsky's ballet was given a major new production by the Royal Ballet in May and June 2018, with additional choreography by Liam Scarlett and designs by John McFarlane?
Swan Lake.
That's right. Which specific type of bird gives its name to this pas de deux from Tchaikovsky's The Sleeping Beauty?
Bluebird.
That's right, for 2 points. Which 20th century Russian composer's ballets include The Stone Flower, The Steel Step, The Prodigal Son, and Trapeze?
Shostakovich.
No, I'm sorry, it's Prokofiev. In which ballet by Prokofiev, which we didn't mention in the previous question, will you find this clock?
Cinderella.
That's right, for 2 points. In The Age of Gold, a ballet premiered in Leningrad in 1930, a Soviet football team visits a city in the West where they have to cope with match fixing, police harassment, and unlawful imprisonment before they help the local proletariat rise up against the bourgeoisie. Who wrote the music for The Age of Gold?
That's Shostakovich.
That is Shostakovich. Here's part of a ballet premiered in Paris in 1928, for which the music of one major Russian composer was arranged and rewritten by another. For 2 points, I'd like you to name both of them.
Tchaikovsky and Miakovsky.
Tchaikovsky is right for 1 point. The arranger was Stravinsky. It was The Fairy's Kiss. Finally, which decidedly non-Russian composer's music was used by Anna Pavlova for her legendary solo, The Dying Swan?
Saint-Saëns.
That's right, for 2 points. Steve Brown, in that round, you scored 11 points. Added to your previous 6, you now have 17 points. After the individual round, let's recap on how the scores now stand. In third place with 11 points is Brian Thorne. Lying second with 17 points, it's Steve Brown. And our leader with just one round to go with 19 points is Liz ASHLING. It is very close. It's on the buzzer in the quickfire final round. Things can change quickly. A correct answer wins you 1 point, but you lose a point if you buzz in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. So, fingers poised, and here we go. Whose violin concerto was dedicated to the memory of an angel? And Steve Brown says...
Alban Berg.
And he's right. Which pop festival took place on farmland belonging to Max Yasgur? And Brian Thorne says...
Woodstock.
For the point. Who's the lead singer with The Cure? And Liz Ashling says...
Robert Smith.
She's right. In which Britain opera is the hero crowned the village May Queen? And Steve Brown says...
Albert Herring.
For the point. With which American rock band did Iggy Pop first come to prominence, Liz Ashling?
The Stooges.
Yes. The conductor Andre Previn was born in which country? Steve Brown.
United States.
No, he was born in Germany. -1. Who, in 1948, composed the Suite in D for the birthday of Prince Charles? Steve Brown.
Michael Tippett.
Correct. Which track from Fleetwood Mac's Rumours has been used to introduce motorsport on BBC television, Liz Ashling?
Oh, The Chain.
Yes. Which Mussorgsky opera often includes what is known as the Polish Act? Steve Brown?
Boris Godunov.
Yes. The singer Dorothy Squires was married to which James Bond actor? And Brian Thorne says...
Roger Moore.
He's right. Which song gave Adam and the Ants their first British #1? Steve Brown says...
And music?
No, it was Stand and Deliver, -1. The jazz musician Pat Metheny is known for playing which instrument? Brian Thorne says...
Guitar.
He's correct. In which Verdi opera does the Grand Inquisitor appear, Steve Brown?
Don Carlos.
Yes. Alan Davies succeeded Roger Wright as head of which BBC radio station? And Steve Brown says...
Radio 3.
For the point. Venus and Mars and Back to the Egg were hit albums in the 1970s, and Brian Thorne says...
Paul McCartney and Wings.
Anticipating the question correctly. Graham Coxon was the guitarist, and Liz Ashling says...
Blur.
Yes. In which British musical did Julie Andrews make her debut on Broadway? Liz Ashling.
Sound of Music.
No, it was The Boyfriend, -1. The title of which Weber opera translates into English as The Marksman? Liz Ashling says...
Der Freischütz.
And she gets the point back. And finally, can you complete the title of the Cab Calloway song, Everybody Eats... This is true, actually. Everybody eats when they come to my house. That brings us to the end of this Counterpoint Heat, with the final scores as follows. Third with 15 points is Brian Thorne. Runner-up with 21 points is Steve Brown. And our winner with 23 points is Liz Ashling. Meaning that it's Liz Ashling who will return in a few weeks' time for the semifinals. Well done. Thanks and commiserations to the other two of you for an entertaining contest. All of the music used in today's quiz is listed on our web pages. That's also the place to look if you'd like to apply to become a contestant in a future series of Counterpoint. Another trio of Counterpoint competitors will be with us in Salford next week. We very much hope you'll be listening. Until then, goodbye.